Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I haven't done a video like this in quite a while. As most of you know, I had two heart procedures last year, and I'm still recovering from that, although it's way better than it was even just a few months ago. I'm able to play, about an hour at a time right now. But I wanted to make this video because of what we're seeing right now in our country, because as most of you know, we're in uncharted territory here. Uh, former President Trump, has been convicted of 34 charges of paying hush money to a porn star, Stormy Daniels, which I find really interesting that she was one of the main witnesses, and she makes her money having sex on camera with men, and we're supposed to take her, as credible. The other major witness that the prosecution had was a guy who's been convicted of perjury, spent 3 years in prison for that, and that was their other main the other main prosecution's star witness. Two people who's one a porn star and another who is a convicted perjurer. And anyone with any sense or that's paying attention or has any kind of sense of fairness or fair play or even decency can see that this trial was a sham trial. I mean, you can say all day long, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. I'm seeing even independents online, and I'm seeing even Democrats who are saying, with this conviction, that's it now. I've been a lifelong Democrat, and now I'm voting for Trump. I'm seeing independents saying the same thing. I'm an independent. I don't really vote for one or the other, all the time. And they're saying this kangaroo court and this Soviet-style trial has turned me against the Democrat Party, and I'm voting for Trump this year. I'm seeing a lot of comments like this on numerous websites. Anybody with any kind of sense at all, sense of fair play or sense of decency, can see that this was a railroading. I mean, I've played music in communist countries back in the 80s. I played in communist Poland in 86. I played music in Pinochet's fascist Chile in 84. I've seen what those countries are like. I've witnessed it with my own eyes. In 2009, I played in communist China. I've seen what these oppressive, authoritarian sort of governments look like and how they operate. I've seen it with my own eyes. I know what dictators look like. And frankly, what we're seeing right now is authoritarian. It's dictatorial. And Biden and the Democrats, they can say all day long that Trump is the dictator. Bobby De Niro is getting on television and saying, Trump is going to, if Trump gets in, he's going to be a dictator. He'll never leave. He'll never leave. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, he sounds like a clown, Robert De Niro. And Biden is using the same demagogic tropes that he's used for the last 3.5 years, which is interesting because when he first came into office, he said, well, I'm going to be a uniter. I won't be a divider. I'll be a uniter. And then he's been a divider for the last 3.5, almost 4 years now. He's a liar. And now because Trump is way up in the polls, they ran a kangaroo court. It reminds me of the show trials of the Soviet Union back in like the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. The Soviet Union, Soviet Russia was always having these show trials, and even recently with Putin in power. And he put his main opposition in prison. This was what, about six years ago. You know, this is what dictators do. And yet Democrats are saying that Trump is the dictator, whereas they're actually acting like the dictators. I take them by what they do, not by what Democrats say. I learned that a long time ago. I watch what they do, not what they say. And what Democrats do is they act like authoritarians. They impeached Trump twice. Tried to bring him down with that. That didn't work. That didn't work out well. Now they've had him in court. They're dragging him through a slimy, muddy, biased courtroom with a completely corrupt, biased judge, and it's just a show trial. I'm seeing even Democrats saying this now. Even Democrats are saying this was obviously, a show trial, a kangaroo court. Even Democrats are saying that. Alan Dershowitz, who was a Democrat and a famous, lawyer, one of the most famous lawyers, Harvard, and he is a Democrat, and he's come out and said it's absolute insanity that basically what the left has done, what Democrats have done, have now weaponized the justice system, and they've started a war of the weaponization of the judicial system in the United States. He said this is setting an incredibly bad precedent of using the justice system purely for just pure political power. This isn't what America has been. Using courts, especially against a former president. But the Democrats are shameless now. They have no bottom to their wickedness. The Democrats have no bottom to their depravity. They are so desperate to keep Trump from winning another election. They're so desperate to hang on to, their precious power, that they're willing to completely destroy and obliterate our judicial system. They've obliterated it. We're like a third world country now. We're a banana republic. We might as well be a banana republic, like a gigantic Venezuela. And Democrats will say, "Well, no, that's not really true, and Trump is the corrupt one." And I'm like, really, really. So Biden and his intimidation of Ukrainian officials a few years ago, and the fact that his son got some $1 million job in Ukraine that he didn't even know what the hell he was doing, and then Biden threatened Ukrainian officials, and that's lawful. So you think that you Democrats think that Biden having classified documents right in his own garage by his Corvette, and they found them just kind of sitting around, and that's not breaking the law? It's ridiculous. Eric Holder several years ago, Fast and Furious. He was never held to account. We could go on and on and on and on with all of the malevolence and breaking of laws that Democrats have done over the last few years. The riots of 2020, we had Antifa, Black Lives Matter, all who are on the left. They're all Democrat voters who are out burning cities, destroying cities from St. Louis to Los Angeles to New York to Denver to Portland to Seattle, and they had leftists out burning police stations, and most of these people were not even prosecuted. They got off. Democrats talking about the rule of law is laughable. You don't obey the laws. Hillary Clinton, a few years ago, when she scrubbed her server, bleach bit her server because she had a bunch of classified emails on there, and she had wiped her server illegally. She was never brought to justice for that. Bill Clinton was having sex in the Oval Office, getting BJs from a 21-year-old intern, and he wasn't held to account. He was impeached and found, oh well, not a big deal. They did that twice to Trump. I mean, the level of hatred and malevolence at this guy has been unbelievable. And then the left has the audacity to talk about justice. We're in unprecedented times, for sure. I wanted to read a couple of scriptures here to finish out about unjust judges and unjust leaders, wicked leaders. Proverbs 28:15. This is all NIV. Proverbs 28:15. Like a roaring lion or a charging bear is a wicked ruler over a helpless people. What does that sound like? Sounds like what's happening right now, doesn't it? The Democrats are putting grandmas who are 72 years old in prison for 3 years because they protested at abortion clinics. And they're imprisoning 70-year-old grandmas for this. Woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees. Woe to you, it says. You may get away with this for a while, but the Bible says eventually you're gonna be held to account. When you die and you stand in front of Christ and you're a leader, you're a leader of any kind, a political leader, a religious leader, a church leader, a judge, and you're somebody that has authority over people of some kind, politician. Isaiah 10:1. Woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees. It's exactly what we're seeing, isn't it? Micah 7:3. Both hands are skilled in doing evil. The ruler demands gifts. The judge accepts bribes. The powerful dictate what they desire. They all conspire together. Proverbs 29:12. If a ruler listens to lies, all of his officials become wicked. Proverbs 29:12. If a ruler listens to lies, all his officials become wicked. And that's what we're seeing, isn't it? Unjust judges. Judge Mersham. He ran a kangaroo court. He gave instructions to the jurors that, well, you can convict Trump on it doesn't even have to be for the felonies. You just convict him on 3 of these things in each instance, and he will be convicted. I mean, he was basically instructing them to convict him and make him guilty. This was obviously a railroad job. They railroaded him. It's so obvious. I mean, I'm seeing even Democrats and independents say this, not just Republicans. It's really obvious. Unjust judges, and this is what the Bible's talking about. And here we are in 2024, just proves that the Bible is true. Everything we're seeing. And it's still happening today, 2030 years after Christ. But everybody's going to be held to account at some point. Everybody's going to answer to God. We're all going to stand before Christ at the judgment seat. We're all going to be judged. That includes Hillary. That includes Mershon. That includes Biden, who claims to be a Catholic. Yeah, that's a rich one. Some Catholic. Pro-abortion, pro-homosexual marriage, pro-transgender. It's like, that's not a Catholic. I'm sorry. I was raised Catholic, and that is not Catholic. He's a shyster, a fraud, con man, and yet all of you buy it. It's amazing. So we're in unprecedented times. Our nation is on the precipice. We're on the precipice of what direction we're going to be in, what direction we're going in. Full blown socialism, communism, full blown authoritarian, or are we going to stay a constitutional republic like we've been for the last couple hundred years? Choose well.